Welcome to Coverage and Clarity with Jacques, the podcast where we break down protection, planning, and peace of mind so you can make confident decisions for the people who matter most.
Welcome back to Coverage and Clarity with Jacques. And for those of you who are brand new to our show, welcome for the first time. I'm so glad to have you here with us. Now, for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm a life insurance agent who specializes in final expense coverage. I've been doing this for over 28 years now. And the reason why I do is because I'm so adamant about helping families make sure that they protect themselves and their loved ones, especially when the time of needs come. All too often, people are not prepared financially when this happens. Now, final expense coverage, which is also known as burial or funeral insurance, is a type of whole life insurance policy designed to pay for end of life costs, such as your funerals, burials, cremations, medical bills, and debt. Now, what it does, it prevents the burden from falling on people's families once they are gone. Now, this has become very popular with seniors because it often requires no medical exams or has very fixed premiums and provides smaller payouts that makes it easier to qualify for than traditional life insurance. Now, what it covers is everything from funerals and burials, the casket, the urn, the headstones, embalming, cremation, obituary notices, etc. So basically, everything that will need to be covered is covered with this expense. Medical bills. Now, people don't think about that, but a lot of times when people pass, there's outstanding medical bills, hospice bills, or doctor's bills that need to be paid. Now, a lot of people think that once they're gone, these bills disappear. That's not the case. They're still due to the family. So here, you're providing coverage to prevent that burden from falling on family members. Any other debts, such as final utility bills, credit card balances, and any legal fees that may occur, are all covered by this. So this is why I've become very adamant about doing this, because throughout the decades of working with families, I've seen so many families collect bills and have other expenses that a loved one left for them that they, of course, they didn't want to do. So now I'm able to make sure I cover as many families as possible to help them do this. So by doing this myself, I'm ensuring the people that I deal with are protected. What I've learned to do over the years is build a small team of agents myself that I work with. So now I help them duplicate the exact same efforts that I'm doing, where they're helping their own clients build and protect their families. Now, many of my agents have gone on to produce their own agencies, hopefully recreating the exact same thing that I'm doing so that they're able to help themselves and help build an agency of agents to help their own clients be protected with this. Because this is one thing that's very important. There are billions of people in the world today, as we know, but you'll be amazed how many people don't have any coverage at all. Now, because of this, many people have done what's known as GoFundMe. Now, I always say to people, you came into the world with dignity, you want to leave the world with dignity. There's no reason to have someone take up a collection to help bury you when the time comes. So by having your own life insurance policies or even a final expense policy, which may be smaller, any amounts under 100,000, some people as little as 10,000, they know that they're not leaving any debt to the family, or if there is a debt, at least this will compensate for part of it to help them out. Now, the key features to having final expense coverage is the permanent coverage. It's a whole life policy that lasts your whole entire life. Premiums never change. So whether you got the policy at age 20, age 40, age 60, the premium will remain the same all throughout. By remaining the same all throughout, you're able to budget properly to make sure that your family is fully protected when the time comes that a person passes. It has what's called simplified underwriting, where life insurance policies may take weeks to go through everything on what's known as the MIB, Medical Information Bureau. With the simplified underwriting with final expense, goes through what's called the Milliner report. Now, with this, I'm able to tell right there when I'm doing an application with somebody if they're approved. So for the most part, people get approved because of the amount that's being a small percentage of the policy that they're getting. But for those who are not approved, I know right then and there, we don't have to wait weeks to find out. And if that's the case, we're able to get them another policy through other carriers. Now, with me being an independent agent, I deal with over 40 of the top A plus rated carriers out there. So not only am I able to offer a variety of policies to families and individuals, but I'm able to get them approved no matter what. Because where they may not get approved with one policy, they may get approved with another. And we know right then and there. So this is the advantage of when people work with me, and when people work with me, why I'm able to make sure that I'm able to get them coverage, because all people have a policy that may fit their needs, their health, their price budget. So this is why I do that. Now, as I mentioned, you have fixed monthly payments, so you always know what your payments are. You can budget for this specifically. It's not like a term policy that you start off at a small amount, then it gets to become a large amount, which is why 98% of term policies do not pay out a death claim. Why? The 2% that does pay out are people who died while the policy was in place. But the other 98% of the people cannot afford it anymore or no longer wants it because the price is so high later on in life. With final expense policies, you know exactly what you're paying for all throughout life. The earlier you build a final expense policy, you also have cash value that builds up over time. Now, with the cash value, you could borrow against it or even withdraw it for yourself. Now, with that, I'll go into this later on in some other future episodes of how the cash value could serve to make you your own bank. So these are all the advantages of having a whole life policy, especially having a final expense policy. Now, how it differs from others, as I mentioned before, is the amount is smaller, usually under 100,000. So if you're looking for $1 million policies, yes, I can still offer those policies to you. But of course, $1 million policy is going to have a lot more underwriting requirements to make sure that you qualify for it. These final expense policies are enough to cover your end of life costs. Ease of qualifications. I'm able to do this for people right on the computer, right over the phone, right on Zoom. So no matter which way we get to it, I do it live with my clients right there with me. We get them approved, and then they'll ask them a few health questions. The milliner report will go back, verify the information, and by the time at the end of the application is there, we know exactly what they have and how it works for them. Now, I'm licensed all over the country. Now, the fact that I told you before, I'm able to deal with people no matter where, no matter on the phone, Zoom, etc. I'm able to speak to people all over the country. So I have my licenses in the different various states. So no matter where in the United States you are, I'm able to work with you. I remember the days of driving to specific appointments to go see people. Those days are gone. As what's happened in 2020, I mean, we all know what I'm referring to. That changed how life insurance works for people and how they get life insurance for themselves. You no longer have to wait for an agent to come to your home who you may not know, etc. So now you're able to deal with me directly. You can go online, see all my credentials, all my licenses. I'm able to deal with you on the phone. We ask you the questions and we do it in person. And for those of the people who prefer to see it being done, I like to do it as well, go on Zoom. So they see me fill out the application with them right there on the phone. As I mentioned, I deal with all A-rated companies because when you deal with one carrier, it may or may not fit a person's need. With working with multiple carriers, no matter what it is, I could find a product that fits the client with their budget and all the and provide all the coverage that they're looking for. Now, you may wonder how to reach me. Now, for those of you watching me on video, you can scan the QR code, which is right above, and it has all my information. Now, for those listening to me on the radio, you can call or text the studio at 631 594 8118. That's 631 594 8118. Now that you know who I am and a little background about myself, what I want to discuss is today's topic. Now, the topic today is you do not need perfect health for life insurance. Now, many people think that you have to be perfectly healthy to get life insurance. Now, of course, if you are perfectly healthy, it makes it much easier to get that life insurance. But unfortunately, a lot of people will wait later on. You'll be surprised how many people say, I have life insurance on my job. I don't need life insurance. Well, that's true if you should pass while you're on your job. But I hope that you live a very old, ripe age where you're no longer working at that point. Now, for those people who wait to that end point where they retire and are no longer working, they now say, do you know what? It's time to get that life insurance. Or for them, as you know, because they're older, it's going to be more expensive. But with final expense, at least they could get something that fits their budget and takes care of what they need to protect them. Now, on the application, they usually ask the various health questions. Now, many people think that these questions are to cancel them out so they don't qualify for policy. That's not the case. Insurance companies want to know specifically what health conditions a person may have to help guide in the pricing for the coverage. Now, the more honest you are with them, the better it is, not just for them, but for you as well. The last thing anybody wants is to not qualify for life insurance because they lied on their policies. Now, dealing with people in person years ago when I was actually going from house to house, you would see people tap the spouse. Don't say that. Well, the reason why they're doing that is because they're trying to hide the information. Now, remember, through the Medical Information Bureau and the Milliner Report, all of your health issues and anything dealing with your health is all out there. So, with computers nowadays, you type in information, they already know what it is, your approval rates, if there are going to be ratings. Now, ratings are when there's a additional premium added to a policy because of a particular item found with a person's health. So it's always good to give the best truthful answers, but once they do that, they're able to get you the proper policies. So with that, everything is taken care of. So no matter what the health conditions a person may have, they may have diabetes, they may have had heart attacks in the past, they may have had other conditions. Whatever that is best to describe it on the application so that you get a correct rating on your policy. Now, here's something to remember. For most conditions that a person may have had in the past, the longer it's been since it first occurred, the easier it is to be approved. Now, people may have had diabetes, high blood pressure, or other conditions. But the thing that the insurance companies look at is the individual taking their medications for this condition? Have they completed all the testings that was recommended for this by the doctors? Have they stopped or changed their lifestyle to maintain good health? Now, these are all items that are very important because a lot of times you may find people who stop taking the medications on their own choosing. They don't eat a good diet, which in terms aggravates their conditions, or they just don't care at all. Now, for people like that, that will determine their health and also determine their rates because this is all stuff that's looked at. Now, going back to what I discussed before about being truthful on an application, you need to remember any person who knowingly presents a false statement in any insurance policy, whether it be life insurance policy, auto insurance policy, or any policy that's an insurance regulated, is guilty of a criminal offense. Now, this is subject to penalties of their particular state. So, as you know, every state is different. So, what does this mean? Be truthful on your application. It's not worth saving a couple of dollars here and there when you could have penalties that could lead to jail time or even worse off, not being able to qualify at all in the future for any type of insurance that you would need. Now, the one last thing that I want to discuss in today's episode is the accelerated death benefit rider, which is included in many clients' policies. Now, with the accelerated death benefit rider, if your doctor deems that you have less than 12 months left to live, they could give you a portion of your death benefits in advance. Now, with that, all the stuff that I mentioned before are things that the person could do while they're alive. They could help pay off some of the debt that they will have definitely by the time they've gone. If they want to use this as a breather to take a vacation, to go away and know that they had that one last celebration and vacation with their family members, they're able to do so. So no matter what the person does with the funds that's given to them, they know that they could now see it through while they are alive. It is one policy benefit that no workplace coverage will ever provide an employee. Now, this is one more reason to have your own portable and personal life insurance coverage. It's portable because you control it. You have access to it no matter where you work, and no one can tell you when it ends. As long as you maintain your premiums, you're fully protected. It's also personal. It's in your control. No employer could ever tell you today's your last day of work, and by the way, you no longer have any life insurance. These are just some of the many reasons why I've been doing what I do for almost 3 decades now. I mean, to make sure that I'm able to protect families so that in the time of need, they're fully protected and there's no caveats to tell them, no, it's no longer there. Now, once all this is done, the person has a policy. And then what I like to do with my clients is to make sure that we keep in touch over time. With all my clients, I celebrate birthdays with them, send them birthday greetings. We do our annual reviews because what's good this year for you and your family may not be the same for next year for you and your family. You may need additional coverage, or maybe you don't need as much coverage anymore. This is the stuff that we review together. You want to make sure that you're fully protected so that when the time comes, your family's not left with the burden of all these various expenses that are out there. So you know that once you're gone, you leave a legacy for your family, your bills are paid, your family has a little comfort knowing that you left something for them, and they know that you cared enough to make sure you did not leave them in debt. So these are all the stuff that I cover with my clients, and I do it in great detail so that they know who I am, what I do for them, and this has in turn led to referrals to their friends and family. So no longer are the days of having to go door knocking to find a new client. All my business right now comes from referrals because if you're working with someone that you could trust, they're more inapt to show other people who they know the same gift. So I'm able to give the gift of protecting families to as many people as possible out there. Now, today's episode will be the first one uploaded to my new YouTube channel, Coverage and Clarity with Jacques. So if you go onto YouTube, you'll see not only this particular episode, but all future episodes going forward. So this is my way of putting all of the issues that we will be discussing over the various episodes right on video so that you could watch this in the future. Now, once again, if you have any questions and want to contact me, you could call me or text me at the studio. The number, once again, 631 594 8118. Now, remember, this is Coverage and Clarity with Jacques, where protections meets understanding. Until next time.